Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing well. I know a lot of us have seen, uh, virtual ensembles playing together from their homes. This is one that the students and I made, and I want to show you how we made that in case it's something that you want to do as well. I know it looks kind of like a Zoom meeting or something like that. It's not possible to have everyone playing all together at the same time. It just there's too much latency and delay to be able to play music together. This is done by sending students music to play and a backing track to listen along with, and they record it in their ears and with some headphones or earbuds. Is really important, and then you combine them all together. And I'm going to show you how to do that, how to create a backing track, and how to then combine the videos together. Okay, this tutorial is going to be just for Mac users because we're going to be using some Mac-specific hardware. We're going to be using the music notation software of your choice. I'm going to use Finale. It could be Sibelius. It could be Musescore or Noteflight. Whatever that you use is fine, will work. And we're also going to be using Logic Pro X. You could also use GarageBand, and it'll do the same thing. And we're also going to use Final Cut Pro. Logic Pro X is the pro version of GarageBand, so if you've used GarageBand before, then you'll be at home with that. And Final Cut Pro is the pro version of iMovie. iMovie will not work for what we're going to do. You do need to use Final Cut Pro. But fortunately, Apple is offering both of these programs, which are normally hundreds of dollars, free for 90 days right now. So you can Google the name of the program, Logic Pro X or Final Cut Pro, and along with free trial, and you will find the download link from the Apple website for those programs. And you don't need to provide a credit card number or anything like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about how to make the backing track. I found this arrangement. I didn't have to do very much work. I found this arrangement on Musescore and downloaded it and opened it in Finale and edited it just a little bit for our purposes. And then I finished editing that, and I saved it as a PDF. I use the print function to do that. Choose all the parts there. And then I we'll do open and preview. And there you have all the parts. So I sent that out to my students along with the backing track. And I'm going to show you how to make the backing track. Okay. So in Finale or whatever notation program you're using, they'll all be able to do this, and it'll probably be the same process. You're going to file export as a music XML. And that's music XML is a universal file format to move files between different music software. So we'll just call it Virtual Orchestra tracks from Finale, and save it to the desktop there. Okay, so that's it for that part. We're going to go into Logic now, or GarageBand will do the same thing, I think, for all that we're doing. And we'll go to File, New. And it's going to make us create a track. But we're going to go to File, Import, Music XML. And there is the file we just exported. And we see our 4 tracks there. So if we try to play it, you won't hear anything because we haven't assigned it sounds yet. So we're going to double click on those eighth notes, or you can open this little library here. For strings, I like the studio string sounds. You might have a little download button next to those. I think it's worth it to download those because the studio string sounds for me are the easiest to play along with, because, and I'm just clicking each track and then choosing the corresponding studio string sound. Easy to play along with because they have a clearer attack than a lot of the string sounds. A lot of the string patches you hear, you know, they'll play a note. Look at that cello. It's a double bass. That's terrible. What was a double bass? A cello? No, it's a double bass also. Anyway, you know, the note is supposed to start, it goes, whoa, and it's just impossible to play along with. There's no attack to the notes. So the studio string sounds, I think, sound the best for that. Okay. Now, if they all started right at the beginning, it wouldn't be very helpful. So I want to give them 4 measures. It's always better to have too much than not enough. So I selected all the tracks and then drag them all to start at bar 5 right here. Okay. And I want to make, it says the tempo is 90. I want to make it 80. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Okay. Make sure the time signature is correct. And the key signature, I don't think it really matters, but if you wanted to, you could. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to add the metronome track now. Okay, so we're going to do a new, right-click, a new software instrument track. And we'll assign this a sound too. We'll go to percussion. I like the Latin for the Latin sounds for the click track because it has a lot of good, you know, claves and wood blocks and stuff like that. So we'll just call it click. I just double clicked in there. Okay. And we're going to actually just draw in the rhythm we want. We're going to put the playhead back to, oops, I must have pressed spacebar. Okay. We're going to click these little scissors right here. It'll open this editor right here. And there's a little keyboard. You can click on all the different sounds. But I want to do, I like this clave sound on beat 1. And maybe this high wood block for the beats 2, 3, and 4. And then I like this muted triangle for the 8th notes. So I'm going to zoom in horizontally just so I see one bar pretty clearly. So this is bar 1, bar 1 beat 2, bar 1 beat 3, bar 1 beat 4, like that. And then I'm going to zoom vertically also to make it a little bit easier to see what's what. Okay, so for those claves, I'm going to click here, go to the pencil tool. These claves, I'm going to click for beat 1, then wood block high. Looks like it's right here, and right here. Okay, and then these triangle mute. Let's do every 8th note. So let's see what that sounds like now. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm using the space bar to start and stop. Okay, now we don't want to type that in all the way. That would take forever. So we're going to move up here till you see this tool, not this one. That will just drag an empty thing like that. This one has a little repeating sign, and it will loop that, and you just drag it all the way to the end. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn that up a little bit, all the way up. So you can hear that that's too loud. So we're going to click on the first one, hold down Shift, click on the last one of the string sounds. I'm going to drag them all down to about minus 16 decibels. Okay, all right. Now the last thing I want to do on this track is I want to add a count in So I'm going to drag this down here to the bottom. It doesn't matter, you can keep it at the top. But if you deleted that track, you'll just right click and do new audio track. And you'll want to have your headphones in for this part too, so the sound of the click doesn't, feed back in. Okay, and I put the playhead right at four bars, or bar 4, I should say. Yep, zoom in, make sure it's in the right place. And I'm going to make sure that's selected. Press record, and it'll count me in for a bar, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was pretty good. So if you listen to it, 1, 2, me saying 1 is kind of cut off, so I'm just gonna actually record a little bit of pre-roll there. So I'm gonna drag that just back a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's it. They can play along with that now. Okay, now something else I might do, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to, with the violin 1, I'm going to click on this and put it mainly in the left ear. Violin 2, I'm going to put it more in the right ear. Viola, the left ear, sorry, and then cello in the right ear. That will help them hear those parts independently. Okay, so if you're listening on headphones especially, you can hear those parts a little more independently now. Now, if you wanted to, you could make several different tracks to play along with. And you could, for example, you could make one for the first violins that sounds like this. All right, and then you could make one for the violas. Like that. And you could make one for the cellos. Like that. So you could make some like real practice tracks for them to practice along with or play along with. But I'm going to keep it, pretty simple, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that sounds better. That's what we want that to sound like. So we'll share that again to music. Got everything selected. That's good. Virtual orchestra backing track. And we'll let it bounce through there one more time. Okay, that sounds a little better. Then I can just drag that from here. 1, 2, put that on the desktop. 3, 4. And then I can send that out to the students along with the sheet music for them to play along with, okay? Let's see. We don't need to save that. Okay, so let's say that it's a few days later, and I've got my completed videos here. And these are the videos that my students turned in. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. But we'll go ahead and combine them now in Final Cut Pro. Okay, so I'm going to right click. I'm going to make sure this is selected, the library here. I'm going to right click and just do New Event and make sure New Project is selected. And I will call this It's called Virtual Orchestra. Okay. So there it is. Okay. And we will select all of these videos here. When you assign this to your students, it could be a Canvas assignment or a Google Classroom assignment. Those, whatever you're using to send out assignments, it could be something like that. You don't want to have something where they email you a video. It'll just be too big. It won't work. It won't go through. But Canvas will let you download all the submissions at once. So that's a good way to do that. So we've got 16 videos here. We're going to drag them into here. Okay. And while they're all still selected, we will drag them down to here. Okay. And we'll do 1080p HD. Okay. And 24 frames per second will be just fine. Okay. Now, go ahead and click in this empty space so that these aren't selected anymore, and just choose the first one. And right click, and then do lift from storyline. That will let us move it around wherever we want. If it's on the storyline, then it has to start at 0 and go in order and everything. And then one by one, maybe there's a better way to do this, but we will just drag these all on top of each other. This order doesn't matter because they're all going to be spread out anyway. They're not actually going to be on top of each other. So you want to drag from kind of the middle here. And should have all 16 of these here. Okay. So let's go ahead and arrange them on the screen. We're going to click this little guy. I'm going to make it full screen here. Okay. And then find a handle to click on. There we go. Oops, that was just one of them. Let's do this. Press here and then do Command A. That'll select all of them. Then hold down Command and click on that storyline. So everything except that. Now, we got 16 videos, so it's going to be 4x4, obviously. So we're going to drag these down so they're a little bit smaller than a quarter of the width of the screen and a quarter the height of the screen too. And we'll just start dragging these videos just wherever they want to go. I think it's more interesting to have it kind of random. The numbers you see at the top are the position on the screen. This is 1920 by 1080. That's what we selected when we started the project. And the middle of the screen is 0, 0. And that means it's 1920 pixels wide and 1080 pixels high. So you could do the math if you wanted to and figure out exactly where to place these. But I don't really care to. Okay. All right. Now we are going to align these videos, because if we play them together, it'll be a mess. Okay. So we're going to press Command A. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to, the zoom things are right here, and I'm going to zoom in quite a bit. So it's about, about a minute or so across the width of the screen. And that's about, 20 seconds. That'll be fine. And then I'm going to zoom all the way vertically. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and trim the start of them. And you can just look at at the shape of the envelope of the sound here and just back up a little bit and select it, put the playhead where you want it to be trimmed, press Command B, and then delete all that there. Okay. Looks like he started his right at the beginning. So we'll start hers right here. And his starts pretty close. We'll leave it. Just do Command B and then backspace. Command B, backspace. So make sure that you put the playhead where you want it to be trimmed, select it. You notice some of these kids twice because I told them they could record both violin parts if they wanted to. You see hers is real dark. We're going to make it a little lighter. I'm going to show you how to do that too. When we get there. So she started right at the beginning there. Okay. Command B, backspace. Command B and backspace. Command B and backspace. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to align all of these with 0. There's probably some shortcut to this, but it doesn't take very long. Okay. You'll notice that her software had the video flipped around, so I'm going to show you how to flip that back. Okay. And some software records it like there's someone watching you, and some software records it where it's like you're looking in a mirror. So, anyway, so we've already scaled the X, the horizontal, to 21.75%. We're going to just put a minus at the start of that, minus 21.75. Okay, and then she flipped around. Let's go ahead and make hers a little lighter. So I can't click on it from there, so I need to go down here and find it. There she is. Okay. So it's selected, and we'll go to this thing right here, which will adjust the color. You could go to the exposure and increase the exposure a little bit. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what a lot of these do. I just drag them. If it looks better, I keep it. If it looks worse, I put it back. Yeah, so in the saturation, we can maybe help it a little bit. You could spend some more time on it, but I just wanted to show how to make that look a little better, but it already looks quite a bit better. That didn't help anything. Let's press Command Z and undo that. Okay. All right. Cool. So we've got them all back aligned with 0, and they're not perfectly aligned though. So I'm going to do Command A, and that selects all of them down here, except I'm going to press Command, hold down Command, click on that. Okay. Now I'm going to make these all start about 4 seconds here, and I'm going to start them all. Actually, I'm going to go to about 8 seconds to give me some room to listen to them, and I'm going to make them start at about 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in so I can do that as detailed as possible. So there's 8 seconds. And maybe a little too much. And we'll move them back to 2 seconds. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to click and put my playhead here. And I'm going to click on that first clip and hold down Shift. And we're going to use the, so I'll use my left hand on Shift and then my right hand on the comma and the period. And that moves it by 10 frames. And then you can take off Shift and just press comma or period to make it line up. And this is that's by a single frame. So we're zoomed in so far that, we're zoomed in so far that you might not be able to get it line up perfectly, but it'll be close enough. Just because we are zoomed in so far. I keep pressing the arrows by mistake. That's why it's jumping around. Okay, so I'm holding down Shift, and I think he started his right on time. Okay, so hold down Shift, and once you get it close, pick up Shift, and then just use the left and the right. So Shift and comma, and that, I think that's right. And then Shift and comma, and then when we get close, pick up comma, or sorry, pick up Shift and just use period. There we go. And you see him pop up there as we get him in place. So I can't decide whether it's here or here is better. But remember, we're talking about, we did 30 frames a second. And this is by a single frame, so we're just talking about 1/30th of a second. So it's not that big of a deal. If I have a few students that play a 30th of a second late, I'm usually okay with that, or early. And the way that her sound starts like that makes me think that she started the video here. So I'm going to keep it right here. I actually know that already, but if you see that, where it's like kind of a cliff right there, then I'm going to make this so it's easier to see. That means she was probably already playing when the video started for some reason. So you might have to just listen and figure out what's going on with that. So this one, it's kind of soft, so I'm going to just pull this up here so I can see a little better. It looks like the note actually starts right here. So holding down Shift, Yeah, I think she actually starts right there. And you can see where kind of the valleys are. I might, yeah. So I might actually put hers right about there. Okay. Okay. And this student, you might have this where they turn it in and they are playing along with the track out loud. This wasn't what she did. She, you can see she has one earbud in. I think the other earbud was like sitting on the desk next to her computer. So I'm going to click this little, make sure she's selected, click this solo thing just to show you. So I don't want that sound to be on there. So viola part's covered. She'll be seen and not heard in this video. And then, you know, you could pull it up a little bit until that metronome sound comes back in if you wanted to. Oops. Okay, we'll put our playhead back at 2 seconds there. Holding down shift using the left button. Or not the left button, I'm sorry, the comma and the period. Okay, so, oops, press Command Z. Just like before, the tracks, they were too loud. So I'm going to adjust these so that the peaks of their sound are about like, I don't know, for me, like about halfway works pretty good. So it might not be the same, you know, decibel amount that we're, you know, amplifying or attenuating, but it is there we go. More about, you know, what the actual sound coming out is. I wouldn't go crazy with transitions and stuff like that because you're already dealing with so many clips simultaneously that your computer might just lock up if you start trying to put a bunch of transitions and making the computer do too much math at the same time. You know, you don't want to have too many like 3D titles or anything like that. Okay, here we go. Now, you can see there's still, they'll kind of show up at different times. And kind of, so it looks kind of cool, so you can keep it that way if you want. But I'll show you how to, you know, blade the beginning of those a little bit. So that all sounds pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the end here. Perhaps. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there, and then I'm going to actually, because some people stop their video really early, so we'll probably need to kind of finish them all like that, but it's okay. So we'll press Command A, and then hold down Command. We don't want to blade that, and then do Command B, and then we will select any of these and just press delete. The little guy right there. Okay, that's it. Now let's go back to the beginning, and we'll go ahead. I'll show you how to. You probably got it, probably figure it out on your own, but show you how to deal with the beginnings of those clips. Okay, so put the cursor right at 2 seconds. Since some people's videos started right there, we'll just have them all start right there, just fine. Okay, so press Command A, selects everyone. We don't like to, I don't know if it matters or not, but I don't like to keep chopping up the storyline. I don't really know what it does or when that happens. Okay, so just do Command B, and luckily everything on the left side is selected after you blade. Like that. Except his. So I'll hold down Command, click that, then press Delete. Good. Okay. Now, we could put a title in the beginning right there, whatever, but let's go ahead and watch it. You could have it fade in or something like that. But that sounds pretty good. So I might spend some more time balancing everything left and right, or not left and right, but balancing all the different instruments and listening to it and making it sound the best that you can, but that already sounds pretty good. Okay, so we're going to drag the end of this back so it's close to the end of the video. And you could put some titles on there, but again, don't go too crazy with it because that's just more taxing on your computer, and it's already probably having to work pretty hard to render these 16 clips at once. What happened right there? Uh-oh. Do we delete someone? Let's see. Oh, there we go. So let's do. I'm just press Control Z until they showed back up. Okay, looks like we got the end of it there. Except for that one. Okay, make sure they're all still there. Yep. Okay, we'll blade the beginning of those again, so you can figure out why that happened. Put the cursor here first. Always good to put the cursor where you want and then zoom in, since we're zooming in so far. Okay. So put the cursor at 2 seconds. I bet that's where we lost that person. Okay. A little more. There we go. Put it right on the exact frame. Looks like we're 1 frame early. Okay, do Command B. Oops. Nope. We're going to select everyone first. So Command A. And then I'll do Control Z. Okay. Now we'll do Command A. Hold down Command, click that. Then do Command B. And I see. So it selected some people who already had a clip there, or didn't have a clip before that. Selected them. So I held down Command and selected them. Delete. And now, let's see. Okay. Sounds good, looks pretty good. I don't know why their videos keep having those little glitches. I think the videos they sent just did that for some reason. Okay. So if someone needs to fade out, if they're still playing too loud at the end or something like that, I'll show you how to fade in and fade out. Okay, so you can still, we kind of had to clip everyone. So what I'm going to do, if you mess up, you can just press Command Z and move the cursor so it's just the left and right arrow. It might be a little easier if we zoom in vertically just a little bit. And do that for each. Nope. Person. So it's right where a little ball is. I wonder if we can do them all at once. Let's try it. So Command A. No, I think we gotta do them one at a time. But it's okay. So my advice would be make sure that tell the students it's okay if the video starts early and keeps going late. It's better than, they don't need to trim the video for you. Okay. Because ideally you don't want it starting right on the beat like we did. You want the video to maybe start a couple seconds before. Probably not a couple seconds before, because you'll probably have people hear the sound of people getting their instruments up and bows clanking on the stand and everything like that, but at least a fraction of a second before. But it's not that big of a deal. It's good to do this, even if you just do a little bit, so that the speakers that people listen on don't start with like an impulse of just like 0 to 60 like that it kind of works its way into the sound just like any musical instrument would. Okay. All right. So let's see. I won't talk over it now. That's nice. And let's check out the end. So that's real nice. Okay. And I think we are done. So you can go to the share button here. Click on that. I just choose Apple devices 1080p. You could choose prepare for Facebook. There's options to even edit it or have it upload straight to YouTube, but I just have it saved in my computer. You're going to want it on your computer anyway. So yeah, and we'll just call it Virtual Orchestra, and we'll save it to the desktop, and it will render. You can click on this and watch the progress if you care to. But anyway, I hope that this video was helpful to you, and I hope it's not too overwhelming, so that you can hopefully do this on your own. You could do this with quartets, and hopefully what I've shown you, it wouldn't take that long to do. You can tell them like, okay, you guys are in an ensemble, you guys are in an ensemble. You could do that. You get as creative with this as you want. You can make a video of you playing all the different parts of something and send that out to the students if you think that might be helpful. So it looks like it's almost done. Sharing already. What else? Trying to think of anything else that's helpful. We're lucky in our district that we're 1-to-1 with MacBook Airs, but I found that the students who have recorded videos on their phones ended up sounding better and looking better because the little camera and those laptops and that little microphone are not as good as the ones that most of them have on their cell phones. Okay, so let's go ahead and show it. Maybe. Oh, here it is. I'll click on it. Oops, sorry. Don't reopen. I'm not going to use that. We're going to open it with QuickTime Player. Here it comes. That was that other program that we closed. Still seeing those graphical glitches. I don't know why that's doing that. It's a shame. Cool. So like I said, you don't want to do too many, fade in and fade out, but you could take this video, put it back into Final Cut Pro, and then do a fade in and fade out, and that wouldn't be nearly as taxing to your computer if it's less likely to crash if you're doing that. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and good luck, and don't be afraid to reach out if you have any questions or anything I can do to help you with that.